Fantastic. So, hi everyone. I just wanted to first of all say thank you and welcome to this event. It's great to see so many of you kind of taking an interest into the Master of Leadership for Development, which is an online part-time course delivered in partnership with the University of Melbourne. So, my name is Daisy James and I am the dedicated course advisor for this course, and I'm based at the University of Manchester. My main role at the university is to support prospective students like yourselves who are watching this today throughout their decision-making journey and application journey. So I've supported the two students I've got joined with me today through their journey onto the course. So my main role, as I mentioned, is to be the recruitment and support advisor for this course. And I'd like all of you who are interested in potentially taking the next steps with two fantastic institutions to get in touch with me so I can support you in doing so. I'm very fortunate to be joined today by two of our current students who have just embarked on their journey with the University of Manchester and University of Melbourne. I think hearing directly from current students really helps prospective students make that decision. It's all well and good hearing from me and our academics, but hearing directly from students who are currently studying on the course is very important, because it will help you to figure out whether or not this is going to be the right course for you. So I really hope you find today's session insightful and one which really helps you move forward with your postgraduate journey with Manchester and with Melbourne. So without further ado, I would like to hear from our panel. Sayo, I'm going to come to you. If you could say hello and introduce yourself, that would be great.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sopedi Baitzile. I'm part of the first cohort in the Master of Leadership for Development program, and I am a sociologist based in Botswana.
Thank you, Sarah. Lucas, I'm going to come to you next.
Hi, morning everybody. My name is Lucas Hiller. Like CEO, I've just started the course, Master of Leadership for Development. My background is in management consulting, but I've been working the last 3 or 4 years in Tanzania for an international NGO.
Brilliant. Thank you both for joining me today. It's great to have you here. So you are relatively new to this course, but I guess thinking back and casting your minds back, what initially attracted you to this course? Were there any particular units or modules that stood out to you when making that decision? Lucas, I'll come to you first.
Sure. I think the most interesting thing, and you see it by the fact that this is a new course, is actually the relevance and the fact that it's a very current course. For instance, elements of COVID-19 and the COVID-19 effects on development work are embedded in the course. It's not an dusty old book kind of setup, and that's that was really interesting to me, to be able to have a current perspective on development that can inform our way of working, including topics for me that are really relevant, like digitization, digital health. I'm working in healthcare, and so a lot of the professors have incredible expertise across both institutions on these areas. So those were the specific points that really got me very interested in the course in the first place.
Thanks, Lucas. Sayo, I'll come to you.
Okay, for me, what stood out for me is firstly the name of the program itself, which is Leadership for Development. For the past 2 years, I've been doing research on master's programs in development, and I hadn't found one quite like this one because of its focus on global development issues and the issue of leadership and its focus on sustainability, on collaboration. And that really, for me, drew me to this program. And the 2 units that stood out for me was contemporary development, which is the unit that we're currently doing, because we get to learn about the history of economic development, theories, frameworks, and the strategies behind the development projects that the world is undertaking. And then the other unit that drew me to this course was the Leading Development unit, which will focus on case studies that I've not been exposed to in my professional life thus far, and also learning from other experienced practitioners within the development sector. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you both. And I think it's safe to say this program is very unique in the field. I think it's yes, a new program, but it's kind of, we're all learning as we go, and we're not just learning, you guys aren't just learning from the academic team and faculty, but you're learning from each other, I'd like to say. So we've got students from all across the world in all kind of backgrounds they're coming from, and I think that's what maybe makes it quite an exciting course, because you really are networking with each other, even though you're sat across other sides of the world from each other. So brilliant, that's great, thank you for that insight. Now, I guess my next question is about how you found managing your time studying and kind of working, and alongside other commitments, not just work as well. It's a part-time course, it's fully online. We've designed it with kind of the working professional in mind. So I guess it'll be great to hear from you. How have you found kind of managing studying and other commitments? Saya, I'll come to you.
To be honest, I found it a bit challenging because it's my first time learning online, which is fine. And this is where the world is going now. Everything is going digital because of our challenges. I mean, looking at the current pandemic, but I've learned to sort of integrate it into my work and into my life, as one of the previous students once advised us during the webinars that I attended. So it's been challenging, but I'm finding my way through it. Yeah.
Lucas, how have you felt about it?
I would say it's the same. I have a young family, and so there's work, there's family, and there's the course. So it's definitely a significant amount of work. But I think what's pushed me to the next step is the relevance to the daily work, the engagement with people like CU and the rest of the group, which is opening perspectives. And so you are pulled in different directions from your home life, from your work life, but at the same time, you're very attracted to the course because of the content and the way it allows you to think, and the fact that you really are learning something. So it seems to me to be the kind of course where you get what you get out what you put in. And I found it more of a struggle some weeks than others to make it work and fit everything together. But in the end, I think that the structure, the way it's set up in terms of being remote learning, there being a discussion group element that is remote, there's not the requirement to be online 24/7 to join lectures at any given point. That gives the flexibility you need, I think, as a working professional. But at the same time, the course team are really trying to give us opportunities to speak together. We have a WhatsApp group for group members in the background, actually multiple WhatsApp groups now, of people changing ideas and providing perspectives. So I think you can kind of dock out and focus on other things if you need to, but the course is always there, and there's no, it's really deep. You can go as deep as you want when you have the time and the interest to invest. You can really get the most out of it. So everybody will survive, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you both. That's great. And I think you're absolutely right. Doing a postgraduate degree or a master's or whatever it is that students choose to do, it's going to be a challenge. We're not making it easy for you. But if you have that kind of mindset of, actually, I'm doing this because I'm passionate about doing this. I'm doing this because I want to achieve success and I want to make a change within my sector and industry, then that keeps you going. So sometimes you'll think, oh, why have I done this? But you've done it for a reason, because you've actually kind of started pursuing it at one point in your life. So I think if you go into this with the mindset of, I'm doing it for my passion and interest, then that'll keep you going, and you'll find your rhythm, you'll find what works for you as individuals, which is probably what you guys are finding out now. When works for you in terms of studying, reading, you'll fit it around your commitments. So that rhythm will come. It might change, it might kind of stay the same, but you'll find what works for you. Absolutely. So I guess
there's also, sorry Daisy, there's also one other element, which is, I think that the fact that this is a kind of can be a heavy course is also linked to the fact that the professors and the academic team are super engaged, right? We have a discussion group forum every week, and the course professor leading that unit is engaging with each and every one of us on our discussion content. We do personal reflections every week, but again, we get personalized feedback on those reflections with thoughts for other areas to think about the topic. And so, it is a more heavy course because of the engagement with each other, but also with our academic professionals who aren't just, you know, letting us read books and assuming that, you know, we'll get from that what we need, but we have that kind of pastoral support, which is really, really important, and really nice to see.
Thank you, Lucas. That was a great addition to that. So I appreciate that very much. So we talked about obviously the fact that this is an online course and you guys are studying online. What are the benefits, do you think, of studying online? And obviously you've talked a little bit about the opportunities to network in the WhatsApp group and on discussion boards, but can we talk a little bit more about those? Sayo, I'll come to you.
Okay, well, the first kind of obvious benefit is that it reduces the financial costs that you could have incurred if you had to travel to another country to pursue your master's degree. That for me was one of the major benefits of studying online. And also I can continue on with my business. So I run a business and I also am engaged in other work opportunities. So yeah, it allows me to do the things that, you know, I'm doing while studying. Yeah.
Lucas, how have you found it? And kind of, can you talk about the benefits for you? Which I think may be the same.
No, I think they're definitely the same. I think particularly work, right? It sounds like everybody on the course is either running a business, is full-time work, you know, in positions of responsibility and you know, therefore kind of challenging work. And that I don't think that will be able to be united with a course that is full-time, as simple as that. And I also think that the fact that the course is split between two institutions that are kind of quite far apart means we get a lot of different people with different perspectives in a more organic way. We get to work with people across multiple time zones in a way that we probably wouldn't be able to, you know, to have people work together. So it really, I think it works well. And it's built for professionals, I would think, you know, people who are trying to do this to gain understanding alongside work and not fully dedicate their time to study.
Absolutely. And Lucas, you mentioned something there that I'd like to kind of go into a little bit more detail about, the fact that this is a course that's delivered in joint partnership with the University of Melbourne. So it's two institutions coming together to provide you with fantastic academic content and kind of fantastic network building opportunities, really. Was that something that kind of attracted you to the course, both of you, that kind of joint delivery mode of study? Because it is pretty unique, I'd say. Was that something that kind of jumped out at you at the beginning? Lucas, do you want to say anything to that?
For sure. I think on one side, both institutions are well recognized institutions, which is important. You know, I think Manchester just recently was ranked #1 globally for sustainability and their work on the SDGs, and that's super relevant here with this topic. But also, you know, University of Melbourne is a very, very strong university worldwide, and I think having that on your CV, to put it bluntly, is excellent. It also means you have access to different academics from those institutions, and they have slightly different views on things, which is also great for broadening perspectives. So for sure was one of the things I looked at for the course.
Thanks, Lucas. And was it the same for you, Sayo?
Yes, just to just reiterate what he just said, like where you study, the choice of the institution you choose matters. And for me, the fact that we get to gain the best from both worlds is a real benefit. And both institutions have their own different way of doing things, way of thinking regarding development. So I think that exposure in that sense prepares us for what we're doing. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And I love that you do get the best of both worlds. That phrase is definitely one to use for this particular course, so thank you very much for that. So yes, you're kind of very early on in studying this degree program, but can we talk about what you've enjoyed so far? So are there any aspects that you've enjoyed so far? Sayo, I'll come to you and then go to Lucas.
The aspect I've enjoyed so far is the skill of being reflexive, and I think this is a very important skill for leaders within development. And yeah, it's very important, and it's deeper than being self-aware. They're teaching us to be more aware about our ideas, our preconceived judgments. And, at the end of each week, we get to blog about, what we've just learned, our previous knowledge before learning what we now know. And we answer what we're going to do now that we know what we know. So yeah, that aspect for me has been enjoyable and also challenging in that I'm learning more about myself and the growth. I'm seeing the growth that I need to do within myself in order to become a better leader in the development sector. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. That was great. Lucas?
I also have the word reflexivity, and I wish I could talk about it as eloquently as Theo did, so I won't try. I think the other element for me is really, I feel from my limited experience, a few years in development on the ground, issues are very, very complex, and you try to make decisions, especially as you gain more leadership understanding and more responsibility. And it can be difficult to not have sometimes an academic grounding, to have an understanding of people who've done 15, 20 years of research in an area and have formulated a view. I sometimes feel I'm being put in a position to make a decision with hardly any background, with hardly any understanding, and that's not ideal. And so aside from the reflexivity, which I agree is ultra critical, it's also actually being forced a little bit to do some reading from people who are experts in the field, and be challenged in your thinking and think, okay, this is what I've thought for 3-4 years, and it's being turned on its head a little bit. I found that really revealing, kind of inspiring, and difficult at times as well. So I would add that to the reflexivity point.
Thank you both. So we've talked about what you've enjoyed so far. I guess you've kind of got quite a long road ahead of you until you graduate. So I guess, what are you looking forward to most about what's to come? Lucas, I'll come to you, and then Saya.
I think Saya already mentioned that case study simulation piece. I think I studied economics actually at Manchester before, and for my economics degree, I never had to write a dissertation. It was fine to do maths exams, so I got away with one. But I think I'm looking forward to doing that part here, and really spending time getting my thoughts down on paper and reviewing them and trying to finalize them in some way. But also this simulation part, the case studies, really working through real life examples. That's, I think, a big part of the last part of the course, as I understand. So I'm very much looking forward to that piece.
Saya, what are you looking forward to the most?
The same answer as Lucas. The leading development units, and I think it's the organizational development and change units. So it's about, other case studies that I've never been exposed to, and other practitioners or development workers' experiences that I need to know, yeah. That's what I look forward to, yeah.
Fantastic, that's great. So obviously you've both got different careers, and you've chosen this course to really enhance your skills in a particular area. And I guess what I'd like to know is how do you hope this course will really help you in your career, but maybe not just your career, but also you as an individual? So how do you feel it'll help you develop or hope to develop? Saya, I'll come to you.
I hope that this course will continue to give me an understanding of the global development landscape and the skills, the necessary leadership skills that I needed, to tackle some of the global issues that we have. And also, I hope to discover my leadership potential. The roles that I've done so far are in consulting, and I hadn't really had the responsibilities that Lucas might has in terms of decision making. And I hope to find my ground, to find my place within development here in Botswana, and maybe even around the world.
Definitely. Lucas?
You're running a business, Theo, so I'm sure you have much more decision making power than I have. So, just being humble. I think actually I had this discussion with one of the professors recently, because in my reflections I kept coming back to the practical aspects of what we're learning, and we settled on this description of a toolbox. I think if you have a toolbox in development, that is your way of thinking, that is your kind of physical tools, your way of approaching problems, this course can help put new skills and items into that toolbox and allow you to approach problems in a different way. And I'm already seeing that within 8 weeks of starting the course. And I expect that to just grow and grow and grow. But I'm also trying to make sure that everything I read and I talk to people about, I can find a way to make it relevant to my day-to-day work. And this toolbox example is helping me at the moment. It might not be what happens in 2 years' time, but for now, it's really useful.
Thanks, Lucas. I like that toolbox analogy. I think that's great. I might start using that. And I guess for both of you and the rest of the students on the course currently, you're learning about leadership, you're learning about development and how to bring all of those components together, but you're also ultimately learning quite a lot about yourself. So yes, you're learning kind of all of that theory and academic underpinning of leadership and development, but you're learning over the 2 years about what works for you and how you're going to make change and things. So I think it's really exciting, and I for sure are looking forward to following that journey over the next couple of months and years with you both. So you both were once a prospective student, now you're a current student. I guess, what piece of advice would you give to prospective students who may be considering this degree program like you once were? What would you kind of have wanted to know back in the day? Sarah, I'll come to you.
I would strongly encourage them to apply for this and not wait, because it doesn't matter what stage you're on in your career. I mean, this will be very beneficial, and the earlier you do it, the better. And we've come to realize with our current challenges that the world needs leaders that value people and the environment more. And recently, the Secretary General of the UN said that he mentioned that one of the reasons for the carbon emissions gap is because of the result of the leadership gap. And so I believe that applies to other challenges as well. And I'll just end by saying that, quoting Wangari Maathai was the first African woman who received the Nobel Peace Prize. And she said that those of us who have been privileged to receive education, skills and experiences, and even power must be role models for the next generation of leadership. And if you feel the call to influence the world for the better, I believe that you should go for this program. Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. That was great. Lucas, you're going to have to follow on from that.
Absolutely no chance. Absolutely. I want to go first every time. No, nothing to add. Perhaps the only thing is, don't get too hung up on the description of being a leader, feeling a leader, right? We all have our role to play in this, complex, continuous thing called development work, whether we are inside of it or outside of it or a part of it or understand our part in it. And so don't get hung up about whether you think that you're a leader and you know what you need to be doing as a leader. Go into this course to learn about yourself, like you said, the reflexivity and the global world at large. And I think then you'll come out with very different thinking. That's my feeling after a few weeks already.
Thank you very much, both of you. This has been great, and I really appreciate your input. It's great to see you smiling and happy about the course. We'll do another webinar, I'm sure, in the next 18 months, and hopefully you're still smiling. But thank you very much. It's always great to have the voice of our student and something that we can share with prospective students. So I hope all of you listening and watching this back have found today insightful. If you are considering this degree program, get in touch with me. I am the main kind of recruitment support contact for the University of Manchester. So my details are studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. Sayo, Lucas, thank you very much for your time today. And if we don't speak beforehand, have a fabulous weekend. And I'm sure we'll be in touch very soon. Thank you very much.
Cheers.